Hello. I said, hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is July 6, 2021. I've still got my Chromebox running over here, and I don't know why really. I've just got right now the message, my messages board on there, just the message board on there, email coming in or whatever. I just canceled a Google, what's it called?
If you just asked about a timer going off, there isn't one going off right now.
That's my cell phone. I said, I think the G word. I canceled the G site for premium, I think, and I canceled Amazon Music, which I really didn't know that I had subscribed to it. And it looks like that I subscribed, that I took the a month free trial, but they immediately took out, it looks like, the $8 or whatever it was. So anyway, I canceled that. Now the Google, whoops, I got by saying it. That means that now when I look at YouTube videos, well, starting, I'm paid up till the end of the month. Starting then, I will see advertising in YouTube videos. And there's some other stuff, so I don't know. I'm just getting hit with too many nickel and dime things. They just keep, and I don't know what they are. Some of them I do not remember. I have a book here, I should. When I did the BBS for years, starting in 1982, I kept like this journal, and I put things down, like when I made a change to the software or whatever I did, I put that in there, and then 6 months later or whatever, if something wasn't working right, I could flip through, oh wait a minute, I remember I changed, I should be doing that, I guess. Of course, God, with computers that ought to be keeping track of, I shouldn't have to be doing all of that. Anyway, let's look at the news. That golf pro was killed out on the, the greens or whatever. He was the golf pro at a, what do you call it, a country club or something like that. And I think somebody else, I think was shot. Was somebody else killed at that? Let's see, he witnessed a crime, I guess. Gene Stiller. Investigators believe that golf pro Gene Stiller, one of 3 men found fatally shot on an Atlanta area golf course Saturday, was killed because he witnessed an active crime.
It was just kind of a frenzy, and everybody was just trying to figure out.
Police didn't specify what the crime was, but have said that the 2 other men were found dead in the bed of a pickup truck on a green near where Stiller was shot. It does not appear that Stiller was targeted, but instead was killed because it happened upon a crime. He happened upon a crime in progress involving the unknown suspect and the 2 deceased males. Sounds like a mystery. The stuff that's, crime in the United States was really high in about the 1990s. It was really bad. And it actually has, well, I don't know now, for this year or for the time during the virus, I'm not sure, but in the 1990s, crime was really bad. And crime had gone way, way down. and things are a lot better. Now, of course, if you watch, news, they're going to be telling, you're going to think you may live in a town that is, I live on Fort Worth, and the part of Fort Worth that we live in it just happens to be a high crime area. But if you live in a town and there is not much crime there, and everything is hunky-dory, and there's flowers growing in the yard and all this kind of stuff, you're living in the town, but you you watch the news. And you watch CNN News and watch other things and your local news. And if you watch that, you'll be terrified. You'll get yourself a dog. You'll put up the cameras on your place with the lights that kick on if somebody comes in your yard. You will buy a gun. You'll just do all that stuff because of the news that you're saying. When you see the news, there's 330 million people here in the United States. And if something happens in Atlanta or Chicago or someplace else, some horrible thing, or even if it's not horrible, it's going to appear on your news, and you're going to, oh my God, this is not a safe place. And it actually is, but it does appear to me in the last, I'm not sure, I guess we need to wait for more the statistics, crime statistics and things to come out, but it does seem to me that things are really getting bad. It looks like, I can remember back in Kansas City, Missouri, when I was working hospital security for 30 years, and when I was a reserve police officer for a small town for 10 years or more, and stuff like that, like at night, if somebody was shot or something happened, and I was working hospital security, so if somebody was shot, they would, show up in the hospital. But it was people, it would be somebody who was out to rob, rape, or pillage, or do something. And it wasn't, now if you thought it was an innocent person, that I'm talking about, like, okay, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, or whatever. Now there are people who have to, cab drivers, security people, police officers, firemen, paramedics, all-night donut shop. I mean, there are people who are out. But back then, innocent people generally were not being, if somebody came in that was like, some guy came in that was shot or something, and you'd think, oh, this is, why, he's a businessman or whatever. Or, why did somebody shoot this, this man? Well, he was out trying to find somebody to buy drugs from, or something else that was not. But then eventually it became like somebody was just driving down the road, and somebody else was shooting at somebody else, and they got, I don't know what the date was, but I actually got off working hospital security in a bad neighborhood, and I got off at 10 p.m. and I drove out of the hospital parking lot to go home, and went, I don't know, a few hundred feet, and I heard a bang and a ping, and I just kept on driving. I knew what it was. Somebody, and the security officer was getting off, we worked the same shift, and he was getting off. He was he was a security officer, but he eventually became a pastor. But he was behind me a little bit, so he saw the guys three guys over on the curb, you know, on the corner, and saw, you know, somebody, you know, aim and shoot. I just kept driving right on home. Went home. The bullet hit about this far from my head. It hit on, I was in a Volkswagen Rabbit, and it hit on the guttering thing, right on the, there, so it was about that far from hitting me in the head. But it was generally, you know, if you know, if you should be, you know, at 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock, 1 in the morning, whatever. I'm not counting nurses, doctors, firemen, and the people that, you know, and somebody did an all-night 7-Eleven or a Quick Trip or something. I'm not counting those people working. But generally, if you were, you know, you weren't going to be the victim of being some, you know, so anyway. And anyway, crime then went down, and now I don't know. I haven't seen the current things, but part of the problem is watching the news. It makes you may be in a community, in a place that's where you have very little crime, and it's pretty, you know, pretty good, but you're going to think that you are at any minute going to be attacked and whatever. I wish people would get the vaccine. You saw where the hospital, it was Methodist something, but a hospital, they told their employees, you have to have the vaccine, and if you don't, you're going to be fired. Well, a bunch of the employees, a whole bunch, I think 100 or so, said, we're not getting the vaccine. And the hospital then went ahead and, you know, I'm sure a few decided that, you know, okay, well, I like working here and I got a pension plan and all that kind of stuff. But I think about 100 of them were terminated. Now one, I think this was, I'm not sure if this was a nurse or if this was the lab tech who had worked there 8.5 years, can't remember which. But I saw an interview with her, and she said, you know, I've had all the vaccines in the past that the hospital said we had to have. And she said, I took them happily. She says, this vaccine, I don't feel like, I think they rushed it out. And I don't feel safe taking it. I'm sympathetic to that lady, and of course I'm sympathetic too to people, you know. You don't want, I don't know, but I'm very sympathetic to her, because I think, you know, they did rush this thing out, and I can understand why people some people would be concerned about it. But I'm not concerned about these religious people and the nutcases who think that, I haven't seen any of the YouTube videos. I'm not sure if they're maybe, but I saw a discussion or something said that some of these people, the ones who need help, where they got the vaccine, they took a magnet and put the magnet over it, and then they showed it to people. Look, there's a tracking device inside there. This magnet is, or was it a piece of metal, you know, little thing, you know. I can't remember what it was now. But what they had done is they either used the adhesive from a tape, you know, like where when you get a shot or they draw blood or whatever they do, and they put the, you know, the thing on there. And so they're doing that, or there was, I forget the substance that it's like, I guess, like magnetic, and they put that on there, and then they took something and put it on there, and look, we're being tracked, you know. You know, but if you are, God help us, if you're somebody who, I hate to just insult people, and some people have mental problems, okay, I feel sorry for them. And some people are really, really stupid. I feel sorry for them. I sympathize with them, you know. I have something in common with them, you know. But I mean, what are you going to do when you have people, you know, like that? Well, when you have a democracy, okay, for the fucking Republicans. Yes, we have a Republican form of government that is a democracy. It's a we have a Republican form of government. That's correct. It's not 100% Republican form of government. There are former colonies, you know, that are now states that still have up to the state level that you go to the, you know, the city hall or whatever once a month, I don't know how often, and then you vote on things as a, you know, a group of people, not through electing a representative or doing, you know, that. Okay. Fuck, you know. We have too many. There should be some penalty, but, you know, what can you do? We have freedom. Should be some penalty for, yeah, I guess you can't. Well, of course they say there's no excuse, you know, that if you go out and you know, you kill somebody or you go out and you do such and such, you can't say, oh, I didn't know that was against the law. I guess maybe if somebody came from the Philippines, you know, the governor or the president of the Philippines, when he took office, I'm not sure if he told the regular police or if he had special police created. How would you go and apply for that job? I would like the job as special. We're going to be going, you know, he has the police and he says, go out and no arrest, no trial, just go out and shoot and kill drug dealers, homosexuals. I guess he had a list. Just go out and do it. Now I guess you might have somebody come from that country, and from the Philippines might come over here and say, go out and do, you know, go out and kill somebody who jaywalked, or I don't think they know what jaywalking is in, like, maybe the UK and probably other places. That's if you know, you cross in the middle of the street or something. You don't. I think I saw a YouTuber, and he says I think it was Japan, or was it China? I think it was in Japan, that, can't remember which it was, but the people don't cross, you know, they go to the light, and there may be no cars coming in, maybe it's 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, there's no traffic. They wait until the light turns green for them to walk, and then they go across. So you might have somebody come from, you know, and, well, this person, he jaywalked, so of course I killed him, and then he would say, I didn't know that you could, you know, but I can't believe the point that the United States has, you know. I mean, there's always going to be, I mean, but we have people that are so incredibly stupid, but they're allowed to vote. Now, I don't want to say they shouldn't be allowed to vote, because we've been, you know, after the Civil War, well, in the beginning, you know, blacks and women couldn't vote, you know. It sounded like that was run together. Blacks and, you know, women couldn't vote. After the Civil War, for a little bit, you know, blacks could not only in the South could they were freed, you know, from slavery. Not only could they vote, they could hold office. Well, you know, the Southern way of life, which I witnessed sort of, and it would have been about 1954, 53. I spent a summer in Barnwell, South Carolina. But so, yeah, you can't put in the South they came up with things like the poll tax. Okay, you had to pay in order to vote, because they knew that, you know, blacks would have trouble coming up with the money to pay the fee to vote. But then they also had like, well, test, you know, you know, and then of course they made sure the test was, you know, that made sure that a black person wasn't going to ever pass the test no matter what. Okay, well, there's only one question on this thing, and it's, what is 2 plus 2? You know? So I guess it'd have to, what would it be? It would have to be a question. Anyway, well, it didn't matter. I don't think they said, no matter, if you said 4, they'd say, wrong. You're like, they don't get to vote. So, now we can't do that. We can't, you know, we can't now go and pull up something like that and say, okay, in the last presidential election, did you vote for Donald Trump? Well, yes, I did, in order to make America great. Oh, so sorry. That just shows that you are, you know, you're too stupid to be a voter, so you can't vote this election. You know, we can't do stuff like that. Sounds like a great idea to me, though. Just think if you had an electorate that was semi-intelligent. What, you know, what a great place it could be. You know, well, the United States would never be #1 unless we could start fresh. You know, unless we could change history and, you know, okay, well, magical powers. Okay, we did not invade Cuba, you know, repeatedly in the past, and Costa Rica and Nicaragua, and we didn't send the Marines into, you know, Colombia and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, we didn't send our troops into Vietnam. You know, we should have actually been, those people wanted, you know, same thing we wanted, you know, freedom and independence or whatever. The United States should have been supporting those people. But of course we needed to go in, you know, to, for World War II and for World War I guess, too. But, yeah, you can't. These things are so sad. 11-year-old boy dies after a raft ride overturns at an Iowa amusement park. In Kansas City, Missouri, an amusement park was set up a long time ago, Worlds of Fun. And a few years ago, they had, on a ride, I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl, I think it was decapitated. You know, the kid didn't do anything wrong. Something was wrong, I forget what the thing is. I mean, accidents, you know, are going to happen, but so sad. I saw a YouTube video. I'm not going to. I saw a YouTube video. It may pop up for you. A dog is brought into a place for, you know, animals. A family brought it in, mom and dad, and I think a child, I think a boy, if I remember seeing the thing correct. They bring the dog in and say, we don't want this dog anymore. So now the same people, anyway, the dog, a beautiful, nice, you know, nice, you know, but they bring the dog in, say, you know, we don't want it, can't, you know, and then the dog is, you've seen these videos of the dogs, and sometimes at the places like that, they'll sit in the corner, they won't eat, they'll just be sitting with their head against, I mean, those things are just pitiful. And that's the way this dog was just, you know, the dog must be thinking, what did I do wrong? Why did my family bring me? You know, why am I, where are they? You know, why am I here? Did I do something? I didn't do anything wrong. the same people. This is a YouTube video, by the way, not something that's fake news, you know. This is a YouTube video. These people come back 2 weeks later, mom and dad, and the dog is out, you know, and they let the dogs out to run around and stuff, and the dog's out there, and he's, you know, where's my family? Why am I here? You know. Anyway, the family comes up to the, you know, to the fence. The same, you know, the same family. They come up to the fence, and the dog looks, you know, family, and he runs over. He's jumping up and down and all that kind of stuff. Thank God. Oh, I thought we, you know, what, and you're here. Oh, so good to see you. You know, the dog's jumping up and down. And so the lady who runs or owns this place, she goes over, oh, are you here to it? You know, are you here to, you know, adopt, you know, want to take one of our dogs or whatever? And they said, yeah, we're here. Well, this dog seems like it knows you and everything. You know, you didn't lose your dog or something, did you? This dog, you know, it's you know. They said, oh yeah, we brought that dog in 2 weeks ago to get rid of. You know, we don't want the dog. And the lady says, what? You know, look at this dog. You know, and they said, yeah, well, we had 2 dogs, and the one dog died, and this dog was, you know, depressed because the other dog died, and it just was, you know, I don't know exactly what they said, you know, it was depressed, you know, and so we just decided to bring it in, and now we're here to get, and they come back to the same place, you know. Maybe they thought the dog would have been, you know, put to death or something, I don't know, but like, you know. Oh, you should see the YouTube comments on this that people are leaving. A lot of people, I don't have that problem, you know, with people leaving. It's rare for me to ever get a thumbs down or whatever. But I'm such a wonderful person, you know. But you should see the comments underneath that video. These people should be put, you know, they should be put in a kennel. These people are, you know, don't give these people a dog. These people should never have a dog, and just, you know, oh my God. But let's see. A police chief caught on camera putting a KKK sign on a black officer's desk. Police chief retires after putting KKK sign on black officer's desk. An Ohio police retires after video shows him putting a Ku Klux Klan sign on a black officer's desk. Okay, I don't know how big that police department, you know, was. I have a feeling it was, you know, I have a feeling there must have been a chief of police and like 3 officers or something, you know. Because I can't believe that somebody, well, I could believe it, you know, could rise to, you know, what was the Kane Mutiny or whatever. If you ever watch, I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but yeah, I just can't. There's the okay. That's the black officer. Look. Okay, I didn't see that. And this guy apparently just coming on duty, probably. You know, he just came from his home. Okay, I guess there's the whole, okay. Well, there's the whole thing if you want to. I'm not going to put the link to it, you know. You know, the expectations of it's like, you're not. I worked at a hospital for a director of security who was extremely racist, and we went round and round. And he never, and he got, well, I'm trying to think, I did 4 grievances. Yeah, I don't, none of them had to do with racism. But then I had dealings with him, like face to face, like this employee, security officer, of the supervisor. This employee is going to be fired. And the director of security, okay, he was so racist, but okay, well, yeah, okay, also, I remember one time, well, during my 30 years, several times we would have, I worked at different hospitals, and we would have a, can I say gypsies, or do I have to say travelers? I think I can say gypsies. They would, like the king of the gypsies would, or maybe it would be the queen of gypsies, would be a patient in the hospital, and the entire family, we have to be, it's our tradition, we have to be here with, whatever. But they would, show up, and all of a sudden, it was amazing. Well, like this one time, the gift shop was hospital volunteers, old, gray-haired women. They would work in there for the hospital. I mean, good women, good women. They would work there. But one fact at the one hospital I worked at, where the director of security was so, he went down and told these women, there's gypsies here in the hospital. So whenever any of them come here, call security so we can come down and make sure that they don't steal from you and do all this kind of stuff. And this time we had the, in this hospital that I was working, I worked at other hospitals where we had them too. And I get a call, during the daytime, I guess it doesn't matter. I get a call to go to the cafeteria, and I go down, and the cafeteria supervisor or whatever comes over. By the way, if I remember correct, I think she was black, and maybe it doesn't matter, but she comes over. The gypsies were here, and they took a whole stack of napkins out of the thing. You have this thing that the napkins in, and they took, it was also like a young boy or whatever. And undoubtedly, his family probably said, go down to the cafeteria and get, so, we're eating up here or whatever, and he got some, some napkins. And it was that type of stuff. And one time, the same director of security, I don't think that was the time, maybe it was the time. He says, Jim, go down and get the head of these gypsies here and bring them up to the office. I want to talk to them. And I said, Mr. Ross, and I forget what I said, and Mr., no, just go get and tell them to come up here. I want to talk to them. So I think, okay, to myself, how bad can this be? And I go down, I forget how, And I said, the director of security would like to talk to you, and 2 or 3 of them come up. One of them, they were dressed in suits and stuff, by the way. I don't know how gypsies dress, but they were in, I can't remember ever owning a suit. I had slacks and a sport coat or, whatever. I don't think I ever owned a suit in my life. Anyway, I take him up there, and then I stood there, and the director of security says, I was in the service in Germany, and I know how you people are, how you gypsies are, and we're not going, and this, sir, what do you mean how, it was that, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, please, Jesus, let me go out of here. And the director of security went through with, I know how you people are, you're taking ways and you're kind of, Where was we? Where was we? Where was we? Let it be camouflaged or something in the background. I just cannot imagine how. By the way, that area where that building, Surfside, I think I mentioned this before in another video. I walked up and down that area repeatedly, and I even remember, I think I was going one way. That's when I could walk, and all over, Miami and Florida and the whole thing, Miami-Dade, etc. But I remember walking, I think it was Collins, Collins, and I remember going and seeing Surfside. Yeah, and then when I was coming back, I walked all the way down to, I forget the name of the beach, way down there. And then there was a bridge that went up, like an intake or somebody came in or whatever, and there was this bridge that went over, and I thought, no, I'm not going to climb up, I turned around and started walking back. We're talking walking hours, and I could have just caught a bus, city bus. But I came back and I saw Surfside, and I thought, what? It says you're entering Surfside, so I turned down the street and went, it's like, I just recently did that's where the condo, collapsed, and I think they have a population of 9,000, and that's what I thought when I went down the street, and there was signs, and I forget what the signs, I don't want to badmouth these people, especially, well, you wouldn't, but I can't, I can't swear to this, but it was like, no trespassing. I don't want to say, but whatever I would say might not be 100% correct. But but they didn't want anybody who never owned a suit, I don't think, in their area and whatever. But I saw that it was a small town. I thought it's got to be a small town. I thought that was kind of funny that, they had this sign out there, and like I was walking down the street and bang, right down the street, and I'm in a little town, little town. Okay, this Pentagon cancels a $10 billion cloud contract given to Microsoft over Amazon. Now, if I remember correctly, the Pentagon had given this contract for this cloud, internet storage, all this kind of, if I remember correctly, they had given it to Amazon, after hearings and congressional questioning, all that kind of, they'd given it to Amazon. Donald Trump took over, and Donald Trump hated Amazon. So Donald Trump took over, was elected president. And so he took over, and of course he was before he was elected, he was bad-mouthing Amazon and Bezos or whatever, and Bezos owns the Washington, Post, whatever, which it, I guess, had done and still does stories about Donald Trump. And so Trump raved and ranted about, and then he raved and ranted about how, Amazon wasn't paying their taxes. Isn't that funny, Trump didn't pay his taxes ever, and Trump's, going on about Amazon not paying taxes or whatever. So President Trump got the contract switched from Amazon to Microsoft. And now that Biden has become president, and the contract is going back to Amazon. These massive ransomware attacks, something should be done. But I know it's out of my pay grade. Republican governor asked why vaccinations are so low in his state. I wonder why. It's kind of strange, Republicans, not all of them, of course. I mean, not all Republicans are stupid. But, wow. Dozens of cases of the virus tied to a Texas church camp, the pastor says. Before, back when things were like normal, here in Texas there was a major outbreak of measles. Have you ever heard of measles, Have you ever heard of polio? You probably haven't heard of measles. Well, you probably heard of measles now because of some outbreaks of it. But, vaccinations pretty much did away with measles. When I was a kid, measles was a regular, I think I had it twice. I think you weren't supposed to have measles. But I think I was told that, that I had the 3-day version of measles and there was a 7-day version. I don't know whether that's true or not. I was a kid, And, but here in Texas, before this virus thing, there was like a major, and it was serious, outbreak. And it turned out there was some town in Texas or community that's sort of isolated. And, like one church, or maybe there's more than one church, but, the pastor and they didn't, they believe that, you don't need to get vaccinated. God will protect you, and if you're in the right, if you're a Catholic, well, God's not gonna, because but if you're a Baptist or whatever this is, you're going to be all right. You don't need, and man, the measles was just boom in that area, and it was causing a problem, because in the spreading and stuff. So, and it was like, well, you can't tell us what to do. It's our religion not to be vaccinated. They weren't the Seventh-day Adventist or some of these groups that are legitimate. What do they call those people that don't believe in medical care and stuff? Shocking video shows 9 escaping after bizarre brazen theft at a luxury store. I think those, I saw, I'm sure you have too, probably on the news, but also like on YouTube. There'll be like a gang of 9, 10, 15 for a like a jewelry. Well, one was a gun store. I think they came in the middle of the night. I think for the gun store they came in the middle of the night, and they had it like 60 or 90 seconds. They smashed in the door. I think they may have driven a truck into the door or whatever, and they went in and just were grabbing up, and then as they were running, and then so it was timed, I guess, as they were running out, they were dropping AK-47s and stuff on the floor and throwing them in the vehicle, and they took off. And but some of these jewelry stores, same thing, but they come in when I think people are there, and they come in and just smash, and it was all choreographed. Everybody knew, that did that, and I guess they figured that it's going to take the police 2 minutes and 15 seconds to get there or something. They did it and they were gone. Okay. Well, I guess this is enough. I think this is enough. I don't even know why I made this video. Do you think Donald Trump is going to be charged with any of these felonies? Do you think that guy who is like, what, 70 something, who was his chief financial officer, do you think he's going to, what do you call it? You think he's going to cooperate with the prosecutor? I think he's like 73 or something. Usually, I think people went like this, he's facing the rest of his life in prison. Also, he would know how Trump is and how Trump doesn't care about anybody. Trump doesn't care about anybody. I honestly think that even his daughter, and I'm sure you've seen those pictures, they're kind of shocking, or when she was younger, sitting on his lap and what have you. I think even his daughter, I don't think he cares about anybody but himself, and I don't think he's capable of caring about anybody but himself. Now, I think he cares about his daughter in that, she is his daughter, and if his daughter were to, be arrested, or if his daughter something was, that would reflect on him. I think he only cares about himself, and I don't think he cares about anybody else. Now, the guy's been around for quite a few years, and so I'm sure somebody can come up with some type of a thing. Well, once he put out food for a stray dog, or once he donated some money. But if he donated some money to some person or something, I'm sure if you looked at it, it would have been that he donated money to somebody, and then he told other people that he donated money to somebody, and then those people say, well, I'd like to help too, and then, give him money, and then he puts that money in his pocket, and, he's money ahead or something. I think that he can't. I think we've seen, I think there has to be something wrong with you if you don't see that if I wish I had, somehow, like if I had magic powers, I wouldn't want magic powers and then people would know, well, the reason this election came out all Democrats won, was because Jim Howard had, I wouldn't want that, but I do wish I just had, and just, I could do, okay, anybody, but not have it show up as somebody, messing with the election, I would just, anybody who voted for, Trump, their vote goes as the, Democratic vote or something, whatever, something like that. It'd be, what was that Twilight Zone thing or whatever episode? There was an episode where somebody, I guess it'd be like the devil, gives this person a box with a button on top, And I forget exactly how the thing worked, but you know, okay, if you want somebody dead, you can push that button. Uh, Nobody's going to know that you did it. They won't be tracked to you. There'll be no, you know, whatever. I guess even if this person is somebody who's stealing your parking spot in front of your place or whatever, and you've complained and whatever, that's not going to be tracked back to you, no matter what. You push that button, and so then I forget it that, you know, the Twilight Zone was that. Maybe I think they went from 30 minutes to eventually an hour or something. But this was a short video, and I don't know, if I had a box like that, well, I wouldn't want to kill anybody, because no matter who, you know, they have a mother, you know, they have a mother, a father, they have a husband, and they have a wife, they have children. They, you know, I wouldn't do that to anybody, but maybe if I could just press a button and for 8 years only Democrats would be elected. I mean, if that would immediately people would, okay, what's witchcraft? What's going on? That wouldn't work. But if, you know, if I could just get all the people who voted for Trump to come to their senses and say, oh man, how dumb was I? And so for the next, I'm going to pay for my sins, you know. I'm going to vote, all of them decided to vote Democratic for 8 years. The Republican Party would be transformed after, it wouldn't take 8 years. Or the whichever, if you did the same thing like with the Democrats, if you did that, let's take the Republican Party though, because that's one that, man, if you did that, if a Republican couldn't get elected, whatever, the Republican Party would go in there, they would change everything. They would be a brand new party, and they would fix everything that needed to be fixed, and they would be a great party. Then you could do the thing to the Democrats if you needed to. I don't think you'd need to. I think the Democrats would be, oh shit, voters could do this to us. So you know, what do we need to change? That's because we don't have any consequences. You know, the Republicans can pick the worst possible candidate, and he'll win. And not only that, he can get his supporters to attack the capital of the United States of America and almost overthrow. You know. By the way, I've talked about this before, and what happened on June 6th in Washington, D.C., we do need to make the District of Columbia a state, because the way the thing is set up, when the Capitol Police were under attack and people were inside the, you know, legislative branch of the United States, one of the three branches of the United States, you know, they called for the National Guard, and the National Guard could not respond until the Pentagon, you know, because the District of Columbia was not a state. If the District of Columbia was a state, you know, they could have called for the National Guard, and the National Guard, of course, the National Guard doesn't, you know, they're not like a military, but they would have been responding, you know, immediately or whatever, and not 4 hours later. And it's a wonder that Trump didn't somehow tell I think he's so out of touch and he's so stupid he didn't know that he could have, you know, gummed up the works. He could have told, you know, he could have told the Pentagon, no, don't allow the National Guard to, you know, respond. It wouldn't be that the U.S. federal troops, you know, would have gone out and stopped, you know, the national. They would have just said, you know, the Pentagon, we're not authorizing them to, you know, to respond. So for that one reason alone, we need to make the District of Columbia a state, so that the governor, and in that case they would have a governor. In this case, I think it probably would have been the mayor, probably has one that made, or maybe it was actually the Capitol Police, picked up a phone and made the thing. But yeah, that for that one reason alone. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That's my raving and ranting for today. My throat's getting sore. Okay.